Dogs are divine creatures. They are examples for us in how to live in this world without being caught up about the fake illusions that we've created by living in our so-called societies and civilizations. They teach us by example as to how we can be free and happy and blissful. According to Socrates, the dog was the purest philosopher because he rejected anything he did not recognize and accepted what he did. And as soon as he understood what he did not recognize, he accepted it. Throughout ancient history, the dog has also played a very important and crucial role, central role for mankind. In all of our mythologies and legends, the dog is present. He's represented as being the healer for his ability to lick your wounds and cause them to miraculously heal. He's represented as being the guardian of the dead in the forms of Gamer or Cerberus, just as a couple examples. We find the dog as an example of a guardian outside temples in China and Korea and Japan and all over the place. Similar, the dog is exchangeable also with the symbol of the dragon and the dolphin, as they all kind of represent similar things. But the dog is unique because the dog represents Sirius or Canis Major, which is associated with Isis and the teacher of the great mysteries of mankind. And according to Robert Temple in his book, The Sirius Mystery, the Dogon tribe in Central Africa have knowledge of advanced astronomical knowledge that they could not have possibly gained without some aid. In fact, they knew that Sirius, the system Canis Major, actually had 3 stars in it. Not just the one that we can see, but Sirius A, B, and C. And the Dogon encoded this in their symbolism and their mythology, and that Robert Temple, through his study, recognized that this was not a coincidence. And so he began to study the ancient mythologies of the world, as have I. And now I'm going to tell you how I got to discover Robert Temple's book. I watched a video recently released by a so-called Area 51 whistleblower named Boyd Bushman. And Boyd Bushman, in his video, said that extraterrestrials have been visiting Earth for quite some time, and that some of them are actually working with us, and they're rather benevolent, he says. He said these are known as Quintonians, and they come from the planet Quintonia, which is 68 light years away. And, you know, you can say what you want about Boyd's video and the pictures that he shared, but I took that little tidbit of information and I started searching. And lo and behold, I just looked what star systems are 68 light years away, because logic tells me that the planet is going to be orbiting around a star. And the first thing that popped up was the star system Vela, which is part of the ancient constellation of the Ark, or the Argus, which was the ship of Jason and the Argonauts in Greek mythology. And that's where Robert Temple's Sirius Mystery come into play. Is Robert Temple believed that the story of Jason and the Argonauts was actually an ancient mythological account of space travelers. And the Golden Fleece in all of it is being allegorical for what actually happened. And I cannot rule that out, because as he says, the fact that the Dogon, a tribe in northwestern Africa, has advanced astronomical knowledge that wasn't discovered until the last century, i.e. the other star around Canis Major, Sirius A and B, and now Sirius C. And the Dogon actually believes there's another planet orbiting around that. And if you look into the actual mythology of the dog, it's central, and it's related with the mysteries of Isis and Egypt, and it's central to all the world's philosophies. The dog is credited with bringing man fire in African mythology as well as Native American mythology. The dog is seen as a guardian of the dead, and again, he's a protector of the temples. He's seen as a physician and a philosopher. Hermes is represented as having a dog's head. Anubis, the god Hermanubis, which was a combination of Hermes and Anubis, to show the full capacity of the deity as being a psychopompus and the inventor of the letters. The guide of the dead, the creator and inventor of medicine, the creator and inventor of knowledge. Hermes, the Greek god, was combined with Anubis, and this was a very popular deity amongst the alchemists of the Middle Ages. In fact, Socrates himself swore by the dog. And I think this is also a reference to our internal intuition, because when you study Greek mythology and ancient dog mythology, you find the story of Laelaps, who was the dog that was given the power by Zeus to never allow her quarry to escape. And I believe what that's representative of, or allegorical of, in the human condition is our intuition. If we follow our intuition, we never go wrong. They're like dogs. They know things. Our intuition just knows stuff. You know, we just know that 2 + 2 = 4. Sometimes we just know that we shouldn't walk down a dark alley. We just know things. And if you're anything like me, you tend to follow your intuition very strongly. And the more that you trust it, the more that you follow it, the more trained and developed it becomes. I believe that's what Socrates was swearing by. He was swearing by his intuition, which is a sign or a spark of his divine presence inside, his wisdom inside. And as I've made other videos, I discussed that the true alchemical gold inside is wisdom, and that the life or the word manifest inside us, which is the true universal supreme being and deity, is the word or reason. And dogs are the most reasonable of all species on this planet. And I believe they're here to act as examples for us as humans to follow, that if we want to find happiness and bliss, we need to begin living like dogs. This takes me to the story of Diogenes of Sinope, who was a philosopher, and Sinope was in ancient Turkey. Now, the story goes that his father was a banker, and that he too was initiated into the banking business, until one day he went to the oracle at Delphi and it said, "Deface the currency." And apparently, and archaeology backs this up, there was some sort of scandal amongst the currency in Sinope at the time, where all the images that were actually minted by his father had been defaced and defamed and were no longer used as legal tender. Now it's said that he was chased out of Sinope for that, and his citizenship was revoked, and he ended up going to Athens, where he lived in Athens. And when he got there, he had nothing. His one, quote, slave that he had left him, and he said, well, if he can live without me, I can live without him. And he found Antisthenes, who was a student of Socrates, and Socrates' philosophy was very ascetic, which means rejecting the trappings of society. And Antisthenes was one of the disciples of Socrates. The other was Plato. We all know Plato, and then Aristotle came after. But Plato and Aristotle went wrong. They went way off of what Socrates wanted. They thought Socrates was being a bit more literal than he was, I believe, when he talked about creating the perfect society. You know, we hear about the Republic. Socrates is talking about man and ruling over yourself inside, and not external society. In fact, trying to create society or civilization has been what has caused mankind all of its problems throughout history. Now, the story goes basically that I believe Diogenes was captured by pirates on a voyage and ended up being sold into slavery, and he's such a kind of a smart aleck, rejecter, or a cynic. In Greek, the word cynic means dog, by the way. I'm a cynic. I try to be anyways. As you can see, I'm basking in the sun like a dog. He ended up, through his cleverness, becoming a tutor and getting patronage, if you will, to teach the children of one of the rich people of Corinth. And it's said that he still chose to live like a dog there in Corinth as well, because when he was in Athens, he lived in a giant empty wine vessel, a clay wine vessel, in the streets with the dogs. And he would eat in the forum, or in the public space, which was kind of a faux pas in Athens. And he said, "I'm hungry." I'm not gonna not eat when I'm not hungry. It's natural. He rejected all the superficial trappings of society, the vanity, and all of it. He's said to have lived the same way in Corinth, and in fact, he was quite an eccentric character too. He was said to walk around during broad daylight carrying a lamp around, and when people asked him what he was doing, he says, "Well, I'm just looking for an honest man." And when they asked him if he's found any, he says, "Well, I haven't found anything like worthy of being called a human being yet." I think he's right on point. And now this brings me to the great story about Alexander the Great, who heard of this great philosopher Diogenes, and he visited Corinth to see him. And Diogenes was carrying out his usual routine like I am today. He's laying and basking in the sun, and Alexander walked up to him, and he stood over him, and he actually blocked Diogenes' sun. But Alexander said, "Diogenes, any favor that you need, tell me, and I'll grant it." He raises up and he looks at Alexander and he says, "You're blocking my sun, could you move?" This complete and total lack of regard or respect for the personality or the pomp or circumstances regarding Alexander is indicative of Diogenes' rejection of the things that most people take value in society. Another great story was how he was said to have been staring at a pile of bones and told Alexander that he was trying to find Alexander's father's bones amongst this pile, and his father was Philip of Macedonia. But he said, "You know what, I can't seem to determine which bones are your father's and which bones were slaves." So I'll leave you all with that. I thank you very much. Appreciate, every view that I get. Not that it really matters, because I'm not making this for anybody else in particular. I'm just making it for my own joy, to manifest my own bliss, because if you follow your heart and your pursuit and your passion, you will be happy in life. And my passion is to study and pursue philosophy, and I like to document it and share, kind of my journey if I can, and perhaps maybe help other people along the way. So, like I said, I appreciate it if you subscribe to my channel and view my videos, but know that it's not my intent or my purpose to, have 400 or 500,000 subscribers like some of these people on YouTube and, make a whole bunch of videos each and every day about stupid stuff. No, I make videos from the heart about how I feel, about what's in my mind at the time, about my thoughts and my connections, and that's it. And it's more or less to be saved for posterity. So, please meditate upon the light and the life of the great dragon that is inside you. Seek, and you shall find him. We are all one. Namaste.